I'm Andrea Klim, and you are watching Turn to the Stars. And today we have a really incredible guest on the show, and that is Teresa Paradise from Live and Let Live Farm. Welcome, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We're so pleased to have Teresa here with us today because she is the executive director of Live and Let Live Farm in Chichester, New Hampshire. And we took a visit, my daughter and I, to the farm last week, 2 weekends ago, and went on a tour. And it is an incredible place. And what I felt there was peace. I felt a lot of love at that farm. And this is a farm that is nonprofit.
Yes, nonprofit, 501c3, founded in 1997 and incorporated as a nonprofit in 2002.
Yes, and what you're completely supported by volunteers and people's donations.
Yes, we're a volunteer-based organization, and the giving hands and caring hearts of supporters and donors and volunteers is what makes Live and Let Live Farm successful.
Yes. Well, I have to, give you a thumbs up for this because
Thank you.
Animals are the most healing, for so many people. And for you to be returning the favor is really a blessing, you know?
A lot of people say that we don't only heal the animals, we heal the humans. And many volunteers, it basically becomes their life to be part of Live and Let Live Farm.
I noticed that when I was there.
Yeah, you can feel the emotion a lot.
And you can also feel the exchange of the animals almost, I talk to the animals and I hear them say thank you.
Oh,
and
cool.
So I thought that was, they're also saying thank you. You can tell that they, really love being there.
Yeah, it's a homegrown rescue, and they, especially horses, I feel especially horses, are the most spiritual of all animals. Mm-hmm. And they don't only know what you're thinking or feel the surroundings around them, but they know what you're going to do. They sense everything. Mm-hmm. And they have strong auras, I guess you would say, and they just pick up. So we get horses that people tell us are very scared, insecure, unable to handle, and we prepare for that as they're going to be unloaded, and then they just peacefully walk off and the trailers and start eating like they've been there forever. Yeah. So they have a strong sense of the aura of the atmosphere or the area they live in.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting that you're on the show today because we did just have the moon enter into the constellation of Sagittarius, which is one of the signs that we find in astrology that are people who are very interested in horses and the spiritual side and that connection that they form. And so I found that was interesting in preparation for today's show. And we have a photo that I'd like to flash on the screen of Teresa's farm. There it is, Live and Let Live Farm. And I absolutely love your last name, Teresa.
It just happened that way. My husband built the road, 20 Paradise Lane.
Really?
Where we live. He built that road, and it's my last name.
So you live right on the farm?
Yes. It's our property. It was all backland when we started in 1997, and now we've grown to be the largest rescue in the northern Northeast for all animals.
Wow.
And just our focus is horses and at-risk pregnant dogs.
Yeah.
And we average 70 horses now, and many other animals, as you saw when you came.
Yeah.
And last year, in 2015, our biggest year ever, we rescued 43 pregnant dogs and 457 puppies and dogs total.
Wow.
Which was more than triple of the year before. So I think people are just starting to understand that these pregnant dogs don't need to be killed all over the country, that there's ways of helping them and places for them to go. So I don't think that it's because there's more neglect than there was a year before. I think people are becoming more aware.
Right.
And I sure hope that's the truth.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm an animal lover, grew up on a small farm, and so the connection that you feel with them and what you're doing is phenomenal.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you.
really want to encourage everyone out there. Teresa is going to be at our 32nd Psychic and Holistic Fair on February 13th. And they're going to be there raising funds for the farm to feed the animals and to keep the farm going, because that is what you run on, donations.
It is.
They are going to be at the fair nourishing the circle of life. And so we also have an aerial picture of the farm, which we'd like to put on the screen. And you could see the capacity.
Yes, it was all backland when we started. We take down our own trees. My husband used to be a contractor. We have our own equipment, very old equipment, but we baby it. And we take down the trees. We have a little portable sawmill. We mill all our own lumber and then build everything there on site. With, of course, the help of many volunteers.
Yeah, we met a lot of those volunteers when we were there. Lily was one of them, the young lady with the white pony, and I just thought, wow, what a great thing to do.
Yeah, there's family volunteering where we are, so there's a lot of kids that grow up and be part of it all, and hopefully that instills the empathy and compassion of their future. Because the kids of today are the rescuers of tomorrow.
Absolutely, I agree with you. How does someone donate? How do they go about doing that?
There's many ways to donate. You can just send a check. You can come on the tour and give a check or cash, or you can donate through the website. If you go to www.liveandletlivefarm.org and go to the donation page, you can do it through PayPal with credit cards or debit cards. Or, as I said, send a check. If you want to volunteer, come on the 2:30 tour that's held every Sunday. It takes about an hour and a half, and as you've seen, it's all outside. It can be cold, even though you came on a 50-degree day.
Yes.
It can be cold. It's a lot of work. It takes 3 to 4 volunteers, 3.5 hours for every feed shift, plus 3 hours for the watering.
Wow.
That's just the horses, not the puppies and dogs and all that stuff.
Right. Wow, that's a lot of manpower.
Yeah, it is, and we've been lucky to be the hugest part of AmeriCorps in New Hampshire. We got 2 AmeriCorps groups, which is an international organization, 2 different times last year for the largest groups, the longest period of time ever in New Hampshire for AmeriCorps.
Wow. That's amazing. I want to show a picture. And I know Teresa doesn't really, she's, I think, very humble lady here. But I got this beautiful picture from her friend and helper, Laura. And this picture is of Teresa and her Orion, the first colt born on the farm?
No, he's not the first colt born on the farm. We had many Premarin rescues, but he was a colt born, and he's the first one raised because the mother he came from a situation where there was squatters that came from South Carolina, squatted on some property in northern New Hampshire with 2 stallions and a pregnant mare, and they were in pretty bad condition.
Yeah.
They came to us in a short period after the mare was with us. And she was in a bad way. She gave birth to Orion, and unfortunately she turned around and tried to kill him right away.
Oh, the colt?
The colt. And it could be her upbringing. I mean, I don't know the answers to that, because we rescued many Premarin babies, and horses have been born on the farm, but it's the first one. So we had some young people that slept with him. We took a stall, one of the partially heated barns, and and put hay in there, and they slept on the hay with him and nursed him every few hours, and he was raised by the kids of the rescue.
Oh, that's incredible.
Kimmy and my granddaughter Tiana. Yeah.
Oh,
And so he's not the first born on the farm, but he's the first hand raised from hours of being born.
Wow.
On the rescue.
Could we flash that picture of Orion and Teresa again on the TV? I want to point out.
They surprised me with that picture. I had never seen it before.
Yeah, there he is. He has a heart on his forehead. Do you see it?
Yeah.
He has a little heart, a white heart on his forehead. I thought that was really special. He's just gorgeous.
He actually, when he shed his baby fur, turned into a gray horse.
Did he?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did he get adopted?
He did. He got adopted with a surrogate mother horse and another young horse that was at the rescue.
Oh, that's good. The best news ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we also have a picture because the next picture we have is these are pictures I took when we visited, and this is my little friend neighbor Anthony, and he's still talking about the farm.
Oh, good.
He's 10 years old, and he's a special needs child, and he's very, very sharp, and he likes to make sure he doesn't hear the best, so he was trying to keep up with the group.
Yeah.
And he took a liking to this little white pony. What is the pony's name?
She's actually a mini horse.
Oh, a mini horse.
Yeah, that's Beauty.
Beauty, and that's Lily right there
Yes.
in the picture as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and the other picture that is the picture you see behind us, and this gentleman, I took this picture, and I was just amazed by the connection and his way with the horses.
Yeah, this is Rick Weinberg, and he drives a couple hours from the North Country. He helps volunteers to learn compassion and human partnership with the horses, and he has a very gentle way about him. The horses that he has with him in this picture is the spotted one is Neptune, and he was a stallion that came from an extremely bad situation at Northfield, where there was 4 stallions and a mare we got out of there that had never seen the light of day for their whole life. We spent a year and a half awaiting court and stuff for them to be turned over to us.
Yeah.
And they legally were, so we've gelded the stallions now. But Neptune's an old soul, and he just, your heart goes out to him. He's just a wonderful boy that he accepts everything that happens, and he's learning well. And he had never been actually with another horse to live a normal horse life until he went with Nico, which is the white or gray horse here.
Yeah.
And Nico was rescued in September, October. Nico had also been in a stall for a long time, was severely emaciated, and had actually no one knew a horse was there, and he had eaten through the wood of the door, the stall he was in, until the door fell off. And he broke out of the barn and went running down the road.
Wow.
And so then he was turned in to the animal control there, who talked the people into turning the horse over to us instead of charges brought against him, so it wouldn't have to go into a lengthy court situation.
Right. I was so touched when I saw this. And Neptune has got blue eyes.
Yes, he does. He does. He's a beautiful old soul.
He really is. I was so touched by Rick and his mannerism and his way with the horses, and just gorgeous. You know, we were there for I think 3 hours.
Were you there that long? Yeah.
Yeah, and there's another picture that I have. The next one here. Could you tell us about Crooked Bill?
Oh, Crooked Bill. Do you know? I don't even know if you know realize it. Crooked Bill has a movie that was made about him. That was actually, the movie was bought from the TV station that Summit Hill, I think it is, that came from Canada and came to New Hampshire to film Crooked Bill with his many friends.
Wow.
And National Geographic Wild showed it nationally in our country and internationally in Canada just this past June. and it's one of the movies we show. And it shows his life, and there's a link to it on our website now where you can watch the little movie. It's a short movie. It's kind of like an Animal Planet movie. And they found out Crooked Bill was with us. Well, Crooked Bill ended up in somebody's backyard with his extreme deformed beak as the babies start leaving the nest and flying.
Yeah.
And he obviously, with his messed up beak, can't get the proper nourishment to get up the energy to fly like the others do. And I don't know a whole lot about flying, but since he can't close his mouth the way the others do, it probably makes it difficult to go any long distance also.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he does fly. And in the winter, when there isn't any grass seed, because he had learned to eat, that's how he survived, by taking his beak when there's seed on the grass and running along it to get it deep in his mouth, and he eats that way.
Wow, that's
But
amazing.
because the bottom part of his beak is split in half and goes to the left, and the top part of his beak is kind of curved and goes to the right. But he is a Canadian goose.
Yeah.
He is a wild animal, and he chooses to stay with us at the rescue. It's his choice.
I saw that, and,
Yes.
and there was a video at the beginning of your tour.
That was part of Crooked Bill's video.
Yeah. And he thinks he's one of your little horses there.
He does. He loves his 2 mini girls.
Yeah.
We now have a second Canadian goose. It had been found as a baby and raised with some ducks that was turned over to us.
Mm-hmm.
And she also could make the choice to leave. But mentally, she thinks she's a duck. And mentally, he thinks he should be a mini horse. So they come together, and then they have like little squabbles, and she goes off with her ducks, and he goes off with his mini horses again. And it's just so funny to watch them. And there's nothing mean about them. They're lovely. So many people go, oh, watch out from the Canadian geese.
Yeah.
They're nice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they don't want you to go pick them up and carry them around, although I can, and they wouldn't try to bite me or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been a fun adventure. We also had a visitor that you would have found kind of spiritual and enjoyable last year. It was around the end of May. A hawk, a red-tailed hawk, showed up. It was its first year, so it still had to molt and everything to show its beautiful feathers as an adult.
Yeah.
And at first I thought something was wrong with it because it sat on our rabbit hutch, and I could get within 2 feet of it, and it didn't fly off. So I kept thinking something was wrong when it stayed there 4 or 5 hours. And eventually it saw a rodent, it flew down and ate it and flew back up, so I knew it was okay. We enjoyed his company all through the summer until he flew away in October. We enjoyed seeing him change from his young feathers to his adult feathers. And my husband, even when running equipment, he'd be running the excavator, and he'd go move in a new area, or a tree would come down, there might be a rodent, and we called him Hockey, would fly right down past the excavator right in front of us, land, get the critter of whatever it is, and fly up. And there was a Girl Scout troop that came one day because he was always curious about everything. He flew on the garage right outside the rec room when the Girl Scout troop went in there. So I told the person leading that group to come back out and see him. They saw him up on the building. They went back in to watch a movie. As they were coming out, Hockey was still on the garage right in front of them. He flew down, got a rodent, and 2 feet away from him, he got up like he was showing it to him on a board that was there and ate it in front of this this Girl Scout troop. And they were like, oh my God, how gross. And the person leading the troop said, what do you got for lunch today? A bologna sandwich or something? That's Hockey's bologna sandwich.
Yes.
So we love the wildlife. We love the spiritual connection. And these animals are more than welcome to enjoy their time with us. And, you know, we have rabbits running around. We have chickens and everything. Hockey never bothered a single animal that was part of the rescue.
Wow. I think he was blessing you with his
we enjoyed him so much.
I want to just remind everyone that this is Teresa Paradise from Live and Let Live Farm in Chichester, New Hampshire, and that she is going to be with Turn to the Stars 32nd Psychic and Holistic Fair, and they're going to be raising funds for the farm, which is to feed the animals and to keep the farm going, and we are really wanting to support them. So we hope that you'll come and visit, or just go to her website to make a donation. I know there's many people out there watching that love animals.
And we help animals of all types, all sizes. Right now we have guinea pigs up for adoption, rabbits. We just adopted out a couple parrots. We have chickens, roosters. We have potbelly pigs that you probably saw, goats. We got cows, and average about 70 horses. Wow. And then we got a couple beautiful little deaf puppies right now. Did you see the deaf puppies?
I did see that. They just want so much to be loved. And I have actually a picture of, there's one picture I want to show. I believe it's the one of your volunteers laying back on one of the horses. My little friend, I'd like to put that on the screen. There we go. Yeah, Anthony, my little friend, said, "Please, will you lay on the horse again?" And she kept doing it. She'd get down and
that's when you came?
Up.
You took it when you came? I think that's Sarah on Merlot.
Yeah.
Merlot was a very emaciated horse when she came in, and Sarah was a volunteer that committed right from the start to work with her, and they fell in love, and Sarah ended up adopting her now.
Well, she rides her without a bit or anything.
Yeah,
just
we don't usually
her.
use bits.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's a good connection with the animals that way.
Yeah. There was another picture that I wanted to show everyone of, and that picture was of Sarah riding one of I forget the horse's
Merlot.
name. Merlot and the sun was setting.
Oh, that looks beautiful. I didn't see that picture before.
Yeah, I took that.
That's beautiful.
And I just thought that was just gorgeous. She's got such a way with Merlot, and I saw the picture. I said, I got to take that picture.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Sarah wants to live at the farm with them. She hates leaving. She's there as much as she can.
Well, I'll tell you, growing up, I used to, as a child, we had a little farm, I would go down and sleep with my dogs rather than in my bed. So I can understand that, that security of being with a friend like that.
Yeah.
And there was one other little, I was really touched by the turkey, the white turkey.
Turk.
Yeah, and he looks like we have a picture of him that we could put on the screen. He has a foot that's sort of turned down under.
His feet are fairly messed up. Turk was found by someone in a crate on the side of the road.
Oh.
And his feet were messed up. We think probably he was raised on chicken wire or something that caused the deforming of the feet. And he was probably expected to be somebody's meal, but they found him on a crate on the side of the road, took him out of the crate, and brought him in the back of their station wagon. So I actually have pictures of him driving up with Turk looking out the window asking us to help and take him. And we had, as I said, AmeriCorps last year.
Yeah.
And Turk just grew to love people. If you sit on the ground, he'll climb on your lap and want to get hugged. And we got some great photos of that. He is struggling, though. It's getting harder for him to walk. And once he can't walk, we'll have to help him make that choice. But for now, everyone enjoys him. His wonderful spirit, his love of humans and life. And, he's a fun turkey that people can learn that, they're more than just a bird.
Yeah, I know. I sat and talked with him for a while.
He'll fluff up and want you to scratch him and do the little turkey chirps. And And I just, before the end of the show, because we're getting very close, would you mind sharing just what your mission and your history is? What was the guiding light for you to start? Actually, I was born in Manchester.
You were?
I was, at the Sacred Heart Hospital that's now, non-existent.
Yeah.
And, but then my mom married a Marine, and I was a military brat, so we did a lot of traveling. But my grandmother and my aunt always lived in the mill yard. And my aunt always worked at like BB Shoe and Wambach Mills and all them places. So every time we'd come back, I would be staying with them. And then when my stepfather went to Vietnam, which he went several times, we ended up being sent to Rock Women Project to live in. And as awful of a place as it used to be back then, it also was a wonderful place because the river runs by it, and there was endless woods and power lines to hike. And one day, as I was a very lonely, like 11 or 12-year-old girl, I saw horses going through the woods, the edge of the woods that were following the trails. And I followed them, and they went to a farm on Goffstown Back Road. And I was at the age I started babysitting and would get carrots with the money and then sneak them up there and put them in the mailbox. And the owner caught me, and it became a huge part of my life. So before that, I only had seen horses a couple times with my cousin that was older and loved horses. And unfortunately, that man's name was Morris Valley, and he made the biggest difference for the short few years he was in my life, because when I was 16, he was a racehorse trainer, and he was coming back from Rockingham Park when he was in a bad accident, and he was killed hauling the horse back. So I was 16. I was devastated because the barn was my life.
Yes.
I quit school and went to work in Boston at Suffolk Downs. The behind-the-scenes part of a thoroughbred, or probably any racetrack, I don't know, is hard. It's a hard life. It's not that good of a life. And that's where I learned that horses need to be rescued. But in the meantime, when I lived in Manchester, Gerald Dion, that used to be animal control, it used to be, the animal control person used to be run by the city of Manchester. He became a very good friend of mine because I used to find dogs, bring them to the Manchester Dog Pound, and then try to find a home for them before their PTS day, or that means put to sleep, the day that they would be euthanized.
Right.
And through that all, we became good friends, so I always rescued animals. I even got a rabbit from there once that I named Mailbox because the Postal Service found it in a mailbox. And that was when I was in my teens. So forever, I've been finding animals, and in school, my nickname was either Dog Lady or Horse. You know,
so this has been a lifelong mission for you, and your will.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, live and let live. Is your lifelong dream.
The name Live and Let Live came from a movie I saw in the 70s, which came off the movie Namu the Killer Whale. If you listen to the music in the back, part of the song said, "Live and let live, let nature be a teacher, respect the life of all fellow creatures." And I knew someday, if and when I have a farm, that I would want to name it that.
Wow.
And we have a stone as you come up the driveway. If you go up and read it, it has those words.
I'm going to have to come back and see that and volunteer. And right just before the end of the show, I'd like to just flash the first picture that we put on there. If we could flash that just on the screen so everyone can see the contact information. If we can drop down the Turn to the Stars off the screen there so people can see the website. The website is liveandletlivefarm.org. And the email is info@liveandletlivefarm.org. And Teresa, I want to say thank you so much for coming here.
Oh, thank you. I love it.
And we want to thank everyone for watching Turn to the Stars, and we will see you next time. Take good care.
Thank you.